Well, hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com, where music comes to life. And my guest today is probably best known as the guitarist and legendary Styx frontman Dennis DeYoung's solo band, but he just released his first solo record called Guiding Star under the name Zadra. Please welcome August Zadra. Welcome.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I mentioned Dennis, and we'll get to him a little later, but back in 2020, you had a fantastic record out with the band. Yep, grand 50th anniversary was just yesterday as we're filming this.
Right.
You had a great record out with a band called Waiting for Monday, also on Frontiers. What was sort of the evolution that led from Waiting to Monday to putting out a record as Zadra?
Great question. Initially, Jeff Soto is a very dear friend of mine, and I've known him for a long time. And he was doing some A&R type of work for Frontiers, like kind of a talent scout kind of thing. And he said, we can probably do something with you. They already know my work with Dennis. And so it's an easy, kind of segue. And I said, I don't want to do a solo album. I don't want to be that guy that has to write all the songs, play all the guitars, do all the singing. And I'm more of a tribal guy. I like to be in a band with my friends and make noise together and work through things. But so he said, well, who would you like to work with? It would be, and we both knew Rudy Cardenas. He and I had been we've been in a Journey tribute band together before. He's a marvelous vocalist, as is evidenced on the record in spades. And so he and I decided to put something together. For our first choice was Walter Eno, who's a brilliant multi-instrumentalist. And that formed the core of the band right there. And then Eric Baines on bass, who's a friend of Rudy's that he's known for years. And Joe Travers came in and just slayed on the drums. Super happy with that record. The one quick funny story is that Frontiers really didn't get involved. We didn't have to send in any demos or anything. And they like to check in on the writing sometimes. We turned everything in at the end. And the first response was, this is a lot more 70s than we thought it was going to be. well, hey, I said, I hope that's a good thing. And which I thought helped differentiate us from a lot of, they have a lot of, I'm not judging by any means. I'm a huge 80s guy, but it was different from a lot of their fare. But shortly after that record, of course, the world went sideways and there was no chance to support it really. But during the pandemic, kind of came back around and said, well, what about now? Would you like to do something? I said, you know what? Yes, let's run with the ball. And one of the reasons for that was, again, goes back to me not having confidence as a singer. And I'll pick up a guitar and play right now for anybody, anywhere. But, I'm not saying I'm great as a guitar player, but I'm comfortable as a guitarist. Singing is so much more personal. And, I'm, as you said, most well known for being in Dennis's band, singing the Tommy Shaw songs, which was just kind of something that I was in a Styx tribute band years ago. And that the impetus for that was just that being a kid and singing along with, it's like, hey, I kind of have a voice similar to that guy. I'll sing those songs. But never really studying singing or working on singing per se, just, hey, someone has to sing this song. So in typical cover band kind of thing, you'd just someone take the ball and run.
Someone takes it.
But even getting the gig with Dennis, it was really just reproducing that voice of Tommy's, which I love and admire and respect greatly. But I still didn't feel, I knew I could hit the notes. And for me, that's always been the distinction. There's guys who can hit the notes and there's guys who really sing and make your hair stand up on your arm. And we all know it when we hear it. So on the Waiting for Monday record, I wanted to have somebody like Rudy to be the star. And I likened it to Loverboy or early Journey, where with Loverboy, you had, Mike Reno is an amazing vocalist. And then, no disrespect to Paul Dean, they'd say, oh, Paul, sing a song here. Or even, Mick Jones singing one song on a Foreigner record. Right. It gives the listener a different texture, gives the lead singer a break. And that's kind of, so I sang one song, which I wasn't supposed to, inside her head, I wasn't supposed to sing that song. The day before, Rudy says, I think you should sing this one. Like, whoa. And I almost lost my voice the day before, which is fairly common for me, unfortunately. But that was a really raspy song. And I felt like really that the Waiting for Monday album didn't represent me as a vocalist. That was one of the reasons behind saying, yeah, let me do this and try to do me on this new record.
Well, one thing I want to say here is when you're on Misplaced Straws, you not only get an interview, but you also get an episode of This Is Your Life. So
good.
To that end, I'd like to bring in a special guest to our Zoom to talk about your record with you.
Oh my God.
He's connecting now.
I see the initials.
Please welcome Mr. Jeff Scott Soto.
If I'd have known you were coming, I would have had a mule ready.
I have a mule. Well, this is kicking my butt like a mule.
I got water.
Yep.
Good to see your mug.
In a Steeler cup, Jeff.
Look at you.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my Rams blue.
Yeah.
Well, now he's going to fact check me on all the things I say. And I got to say all the extra good things about him.
This is all you, brother. This is your interview. I'm just sitting in with my coffee and with my buddy Jeff, and well, we've done so many interviews in the past, so he invited me to come along and just kind of invade your space.
Well, I'm not sure if I've already done the last interview.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned the last time I had Jeff on that he's more of a co-host than a guest because we've done so many interviews together. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're going to do here. You know, Jeff,
we should have allowed more time on this one. This is going to go crazy.
But we're just talking about Waiting for Monday and your influence on that record, but as we get into Guiding Star, the great Alessandro Del Vecchio was involved with production and writing. So August, did you write with Alessandro? Did he do it and then you tailor it after that?
Some of all those things.
Yeah.
I will always tell people that I rarely will write a song from soup to nuts and here it is done. I gave Alessandro a few songs that were done that way, but instrumentally, but didn't have lyrics or vocal melodies. I gave him a boatload of, hey, here's two chords that sound nice together. I don't know where it goes after that. Typical guitar player things. I got this cool riff. And then what am I supposed to sing over there? It's there are guys much more skilled songwriters than me. That's easy to say. But I gave him a lot of things. And Alessandro he has all my respect, and I can't say enough good things about him. I hold him in the highest regard as a human being and as a musician. But he excelled at putting others' ideas together. He has a knack for writing for particular artists. He knows what their strengths are. And so he took a lot of my things and wove them together with other parts of mine, parts of his, presented things to me in their entirety that we had to make some changes to. He put no limitations on my input. So, changing guitar, changing lyrics, bless you.
Oh, that's a cough. That's my post-COVID cough.
Fighting back from COVID.
Yeah.
So it was a great experience working with him.
And Jeff, you came in, did background vocals on, I think, every track.
Every song but one.
Record. So
every song but one, yeah. And it wasn't even meant to be that. It got to the point where, for starters, as August was just saying, there were some songs that had to be changed or were changed, especially lyrical content. Now, as he said, Alessandro he does the same with me. He'll send a complete idea with backing vocals, even sometimes lead vocals, not with actual lyrics, but he'll give you a kind of la 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 la, give you an idea. Might be and he also, again, there's no limitation to our input. As August said, Alessandro wants us to create. He wants us to elaborate. He wants us to take what he's given and put our own spin on it. That being said, there were a few things that August said, it's cool, but it's not me. And if it's not you, especially an album like this is so important to him. If you're doing an album with a band or another friend or something like that, then it's okay to kind of explore other territories and creative sides. But this was August's debut. This is something that he has his 100% stamp on, and it has to represent him in every sense, in every way. So that being said, some of the songs that Alessandro sent with lyrics and vocal parts already done, August would change them and they say, dude, I changed a lot of this. The backing vocals don't work. The lyrics don't work. I would just pop them in the Pro Tools. I knocked them out, and there was no need for Alessandro's. He's as busy as James Brown was when he was alive. There was no need for Alessandro to then go back and redo what he'd already done with the new lyrics, because it was already done. We wanted to finish the ideas before we presented it to Alessandro, like whatever the changes were, whatever the ideas were. And that just goes to show how much August actually did go into it and change and rearrange and kind of put his own spin, both lyrically, melodically, it just different things kind of altered along the way. And I assisted him with the presentation of that back to Alessandro so he could say, that sounds great, let's move on. And that, again, as I just said, there was no need for Alessandro to plug the mic back in and then now to sing over what I did or to add to what I did, because everything worked and sounded so well as is.
In addition to having Jeff on background vocals, who else plays on the record with you?
There's my buddy from the Dennis Young band, Jimmy Leahy, great guitar player and a dear friend of mine.
Oh, Jimmy.
He plays wonderful guitar, acoustic guitars on the song A Matter of Yesterday. And he even, I sent him, here's my cowboy chords kind of thing. It's like, here's how the basic what the song sounds like. And he said, I'll get back this in a couple of days, I'll give you my ideas. And he comes back and he said, I really like the song. He said, I came up with my own tuning for the first part. And he gave 3 tracks of acoustic. One is in Nashville tuning, one's in his Jimmy Leahy tuning. And just, he took a simple idea and really fleshed it out. And it's beautiful what he added to the track. Mm-hmm. And then on the song Take My Hand, there's some hack that played keyboards on it. Dennis DeYoung came in and played a beautiful solo. And that's a kind of a funny story on that one too. That's actually the song where I had written that in its entirety, minus a keyboard solo. And demoed on a primitive recording gear I had for years. And I had no lyrics or melody. Alessandro came back he turned it into a song by adding the lyrics and melody, but it was something, it's in D minor, the saddest of all keys, but minor doesn't have to be evil. It can just be thoughtful or sad, right? Or just
and it's called Lick My Love Pump.
There was lines. This is not a diss towards Alessandro. It was just it's what he heard from the music and wanted to present me with something. And there was a line about, now the devil knows my name and this dark path I walk or something. And I thought, I'm not singing that. Yeah. That's not me. I'm always been, I'm triumph, Boston journey, positivity, and I was telling Jeff, Jeff's known and worked with Alessandro for years. And I said, this is and he goes, don't worry, bro, I got you. And literally the next day he sends over the new lyrics, and it was so much better. It fit me. Jeff knows who I am for years. And to have come up with that overnight was just brilliant. And then I took chunks of it. And this is another, as with Alessandro, Jeff said, here's what I sent. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, change it, whatever you want to do. And I made some changes. He's cool with that. And then it became something that I could sing.
The funny story behind that song. It's fun. I was actually going to bring it up, but you kind of segued it. I was picking up my stepdaughter from work, and I was an hour early. She told me the time that she was supposed to, but I thought she was done at 8 and she was actually done at 9. So I'm like, I'm not going to drive all the way home and then go all the way back and back. So I literally sat for an hour in the parking lot with that song. And I started thinking about exactly what August was saying, the positivity, the things that are important to him in life, the happiness, the things that make him and his family happy. And that was the key thing, was family. So I started with the ideal of even starting from his father and down the generations of what he learned and what he's now passing on to his own children. And it's, again, it's very enlightening. And I put a little bit of even myself behind that. Anybody that's a dad, anybody that's a family man knows how important it is for people to know how important it is to you. So that's what I wanted to put in that particular song lyrically. And as August said, he got it, and he put, okay, this I like. This is not, I see what you're going with here, but I want to even really personalize it even more. And that the process is so easy. It was so incredible. And I should have started with this, but I'll say it now. I'm beyond proud of how this record came out. I'm beyond proud of how August excelled in all of this because this is his first outing, but it's his first outing alone. He never really ran Pro Tools or Logic or any of those kind of home studio things. Never even had a proper home microphone. I threw the Lions in. I go, dude, forget about this driving to 40 minutes each way back and forth to record all your parts, all your vocals and keyboards. He'd still be, I'm sorry, guitars. He'd still be working on the album now if he was doing it the way he was doing it. And I literally had to convince him, you can do this. Buy your own mic, buy your own recording gear, buy a laptop or a computer that can handle the levels that you need to do your stuff. Learn it, do it all at home. You have all the time in the world to just really hone in on it. You can change things on the fly. You can wake up the next day, go, I don't like that, and change. And he did that. He dove in and he mastered it. And he got it to the point when I was receiving his recording, like, oh my God, my recordings, the things that I was doing the first 2 years weren't as solid as the performances he was sending me. So I'm serious. I'm so proud in that sense that I basically said, you got to do it this way to get the productivity, and the creativity is going to excel if you can do it this way. And it did. And the results of this album are the proof in the pudding.
I got to quickly add to this that at one point, I was always calling Jeff or sending him things, and at one point I said, yeah, I was killing this one vocal part, but then the freaking the neighbor's gardener came over and like just had to wait it out for half an hour, lost the vibe. And he's like, man, you're very particular about that, more so than me. He said, my albums have Ellie yelling at the dogs. It's like the neighbors going to the kids' work.
If you solo my vocal tracks, you would be mortified. You would go, what in the hell's going on when he's recording these vocals? Through the years, I mean, I've been recording my own home vocals since the 90s. So you can imagine pretty much 97% of my career since the 90s has been done my home remote studios. Some of it's not that great, but some of it, as I went along, got better and better and better, technology, etc. But the fact is, the earlier versions, I mean, when I was living in London, for instance, she was my then girlfriend, with my wife, we lived in it was kind of like they call them council homes. It's kind of like an apartment setting, but they're actually small homes, but it's walls. And if you ever seen like in an English neighborhood, you see like a row of, it looks like homes, but they're all connected to one another, like an apartment. So, and paper thin walls, and you got kids crying and dogs barking. And the whole the first Wet album, if you solo those vocals, I'm sure when Eric was mixing it, he was probably going, what I hope I can mute that or get rid of that, because there's all kinds of stuff going on. But I didn't have the luxury of going to a real studio until now.
Look for those stems to be released tomorrow.
So yeah, it's the learning curves came along with exactly what August is saying, all the things you have to adapt to in learning how to do everything at home. And then it's trial by fire. You basically try it. And if you get a complaint from an engineer or somebody else, you learn from it. Next time I'll do it this way. Next time I'll set my mic that way. Next time I'll use less compression or more, whatever. You learn. August just stepped up big time based on the outcome of this record.
Yeah, and it's funny.
A lot of luck was clearly involved.
I'm sitting here thinking that when I'm waiting for my kids to come out, I'm playing a game on my phone. You're writing something that turns out to be, it's like there lies the difference why you're there and I'm here.
Hey, this is my day job. It's they say don't quit your day job. I can't quit my day job. This is it. It's a nonstop day job. It never ends.
Now, August, I mean, you're on the road a lot with Dennis and some other projects and things like that.
Were.
Do you see a chance, hopefully, should the world open up a little bit, to get out and bring Guiding Star and Zadra out on your own tour?
I would say this, that I would really, really love the opportunity to perform this material live, put a band together. With the landscape changing so quickly, and I mean, it had been changing so much even before the pandemic, and the opportunities are fewer and farther between. And I think, Frontiers, God bless them for carrying the torch for all of us and giving us an outlet. But, a lot of their MO is to put these bands together, and then we just kind of try to see what might get any traction, and then put some resources behind it. And I just don't, there's a lot of factors involved that are beyond my control. But would I like to? Yes.
Well, and I know, speaking of Dennis, you had some shows coming up that got canceled, including actually one not far from me that I was hoping to catch. So hopefully that comes back. Now, Dennis has said he's done recording and everything like that, but will you guys still be touring and getting out there with him at some point?
I wish I could give you a definite answer on that. All I can say is I hope so.
Yeah.
He's been kind of on the fence about it.
Mhm.
He's talked a lot about doing a victory lap kind of tour over the years, but right now he's working on another Hunchback theatrical show in Milwaukee, and I'm glad he's got a creative outlet and he's busy with putting his energy into that. But hey, I didn't write "Come Sail Away." I need to work.
And I'll add to that. That's kind of one of the reasons. I mean, August is one of my best friends. It's no secret now. You just have to look at my socials, and we've done so many hangs and so many collabs and played together. Blah blah blah. And through the years, I loved him before I met him in terms of his talent and what he has to offer. But I kind of felt it's my responsibility, not only as his friend, but as his comrade, to keep pushing him. It's like, dude, God bless Dennis. God bless what Dennis has done and given you. But there's got to be there will be a point where he's going to put that to bed. And I need and want you to just start excelling, start pushing the August Zadra agenda, because you already have a name from this. You already have an established, I guess, an established name from what you've done with Dennis. Now it's time to elaborate on it the same way anybody else that would be involved with a classic band from Boston, The Foreigner, or Journey, etc. You can take this and start launching it into your own thing. And to be honest with you, this should have happened before Waiting for Monday. Waiting for Monday kind of accidentally happened when I was introducing Rudy to the label and getting that all started. He kind of not dragged August into it, but he kind of asked August to be along for the ride, where I was already thinking and trying to get August to do his own thing at the time. So this kind of postponed the Zadra thing. And I'm kind of glad it worked out the way it did, because the Waiting for Monday thing was kind of the first steps. It was kind of like getting your feet wet. This was like pushing him into the pool. So
yeah. And Jeff has been a very dear friend for years, as well as a cheerleader, coach, mentor. You may remember, the way I remember it, is you had come to me about, with in an A&R type of capacity, saying, would you like to do something as a solo artist? And I said, no. I remember I said, because I didn't have the confidence still,
Right.
It's funny.
It's amazing. Yeah. In just a few years, the confidence, the whole level is really shifted. And now he's really stepping forward into his own, which is, I love seeing it, because he so deserves it. Number one, he's too talented to just be seen as a side guy. And now he can finally start establishing. We're not expecting him to be a household name and to be, on heavy rotation on MTV and KLOS. And expectations. When you have expectations, that's when you have disappointments.
That's true.
But generally, it's all about pushing him forth and getting his name out there as August Zadra, not as appearing with or formerly of or currently with. I want August Zadra to now have his own name and his own legs, basically.
Yeah.
And it's a great record. Again, it's called Guiding Star. It's under the name Zadra. It's available everywhere. It's on all streaming services. I highly recommend checking it out. It's a great listen. It's a fun record. It's a positive record. It's definitely what we need right now. So,
favorite song, Jeff? Come on, hit me. Favorite song on the record?
Oh God, I just I'm blanking at the moment.
I love the opening. I love it. It really establishes that 70s melodic, when melodic rock was blowing up, and it was so exciting when Kansas was breaking, when Styx was breaking. That sound and that vibe really encapsulates that, and all the backing vocals, the back and forth, and then August singing on top of to me, it's one of the greatest things I've been a part of, and it was so much fun singing all those different parts, especially the end.
Yes,
all these things going on. It was so fun. I'm like, God, I could do a whole record of stuff like this.
And you know what? We had my record launch release party 2 days ago, and at one point we're playing that song over and I'm looking at everyone around. I thought, it reminded me of, especially the vocal breakdown at the end. I could see like that being something happening in a tribe hundreds of years ago, where people are dancing, and you've got this one, whoa, and then the way the parts break out and having this big thing, and it's joyful. And I wrote that music a couple of years back when Dennis was looking for a new intro for the show to replace. He was tired of using Grand Illusion, which is a great song, of course, but he wanted something in that vibe, and I wanted to write something triumphant sounding. It's very short. It's all major key. There were these big guitar harmonies in the beginning they're in there, but you can't hear them because we decided the backing vocals were more important. But and I'd given it to Dennis at one point, and I think I just got him at the wrong time. And he was like, "Meh." So I'm like, well, I'm going to keep that idea around. And Jeff, you may remember, I found recently, I have the video, or the you, me, and Sturm in the kitchen. It's called Three Amigos, I think, and that's the first time we sang that.
Oh boy. I think we recorded it on it was like a GarageBand version on the iPhone, and it was so bad. It was like we couldn't even know how to do overdubs. Like, this is terrible. What are we doing? We came over to just drink and hang out, and we ended up writing a song, or an idea of a skeletal idea of a song. But we couldn't demo it properly, and it just kind of sat there. I wondered what happened to that thing, and here you go. It resurfaced finally.
And like Jeff said, I never had a proper microphone at home, so I, as a guitar player, what I tend to do also, and I can see you play guitar as well, I'm guilty of, I would get a couple of chords together, and then I'd say, I don't have a vocal, so I keep adding more guitars to it, right? And pretty soon there's like guitar tracks, and well, what's the vocal supposed to do? Well, and now when I had a 3-part guitar that was supposed to be vocals, but to hear it done and fully fleshed out, and then and this is another one where the lyrics they were fine, but I thought, this isn't, like 2 days before I went to sing it, I thought I read a news story someplace, and the phrase "come together" was used, and I thought, a friend of mine had just been telling me, you need to have a cover tune on the record. Every debut has to have a cover song, so people have something they're familiar with. And I thought, "Come together." People will think it's the Beatles song, right?
Exactly.
That's what I thought. That, and I thought, "Come together." Let's use music. I really have a deep faith in the healing power of music, and I thought, this is an opportunity. You know the lyrics, but if people haven't heard it yet, that music will heal what isolation has destroyed. Come together. And there's my warning. I have another one starting in 2 minutes, guys. But and so the album starts with this big glorious vocal with Jeff, Alessandro, myself singing, and it talks about bringing everybody together, and then the ending track, Rise from the Fire. It's again kind of comes full circle with, this pandemic isn't going to last forever, and we're going to come back.
So I do have to let you go. Jeff, real quick, what do we have to look forward to next from you?
The first single of my upcoming solo record's going to be dropping in about a week and a half, along with the title and all that, all the initial droppings of what's happening next. And I've got a bunch of road stuff that I'm finally going to go do. I'm going to Brazil in a couple weeks. Got a bunch of road show stuff with Beeler, and in between, I'm going to try and make that guy a rock star.
Yep. And I'm sure we'll have you back on here for that record. But
Elephant Soto, that's right. That's another announcement coming out soon. It's nonstop. Right. I haven't stopped. Jeff, I have not stopped. In fact, I turned it up during COVID.
He did.
But the record we're talking about today is Guiding Star. It's from Zadra, featuring August Zadra. It's out everywhere. Check it out, guys. Thank you so much for doing this. This has been a blast.
Jeff, thank you so much. Both Jeffs. That's a nice surprise.
Yeah, which one are you talking to?
The good-looking one. You guys fight it out. Thank you for your support of music. I really appreciate you doing this for me. And Jeff, thanks for popping in, brother.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.